Hi everyone, I'm really happy to be back with this new video, and this is the last video of 2023. And I just wanted to make one last video with a really important message for the solstice, the winter solstice, but also for the passage towards 2024, which will be a very, very interesting year with lots of different things, different energies, and I will be talking about that in my next video when I will be doing the 2024 forecast. But for the time being, I really wanted to share with you this message that came through really strongly, and I think it's going to be a very useful message also to remember during the whole year of 2024. And also, it's really funny because I just read some comments like recently, and sometimes you can read really negative comments, like people say negative things in the comments. But what I see often is people say like, okay, some people say that there's going to be a collapse in 2024. Some other people say that there's going to be a big elevation of consciousness and ascension of the planet towards the fifth dimension. And we don't know who to believe anymore because, everyone says some different stuff, and in the end we don't know who to believe. But I wanted to say that both are true, actually. There is a collapse and there is an ascension going on. Both realities actually coexist on Earth right now. And it's almost like, the scales, like one is going down and the other goes up, because when there's this scale that is really heavy, like heading towards darkness, the other one is actually rising up towards the light. And these are the two opposite energies that we have on this planet, and this is really the movement that we can see. So one is going down, the other is going up. One is going down towards the collapse, the other is going down, is going up towards the ascension. No, we're going up towards the ascension. And the message that came through is that whatever we are witnessing on this planet, so I know that darkness is very strong. We see a lot of, shadow aspects. We see a lot of cruelty, we see a lot of violence, we see a lot of fear, we see a lot of trauma on Earth, we see a lot of control, we see a lot of manipulation. All this stuff really is very visible on Earth, and has been for quite some time, and certainly during the past years as well, a kind of restraint in liberties, etc., etc. But whatever we are witnessing, we always have to remind ourselves that from the point of view of Source, from the point of view of God, God is only allowing his children, his rebellious children, to believe that they are actually having that control, or they have the control to destroy everything or to create even more darkness on the planet. He actually allows those souls to believe that. But in the end, what do you think? Who wins in the end? I mean, let's get serious. Who wins in the end? Nobody can actually fight God. It's always God that wins in the end. So even though we see the shadow aspects, we see darkness on Earth very strongly because it needs to be seen, to be dismantled, to be transmuted, so we can elevate ourselves. Well, we are only witnessing that because God actually allows his children, because he considers every soul on this planet as his children, to actually make the choices, because we all have free will, make the choices towards the light or towards the dark. And so there are people on this earth who chose the dark, and who actually, chose not only to separate as an incarnated being, but to actually separate themselves so much from the Creator that they have gone very, very far down the ladder of consciousness. And that's the second thing that I saw, was this kind of ladder that, it was like a ladder with, different levels, and it had a very bright light, white light on the top, and a very dark black on the bottom, and in between there was an infinite, scale of grays actually, and all these scales represented different levels of consciousness, of the human consciousness when we come to incarnate in the body. So it was really interesting to see that and to understand that some people have chosen the path of darkness, and when they make repetitive choices towards darkness, they actually fall down and, you know, deeper and deeper into the level of consciousness, and it becomes even more difficult in the end to go back up. And of course, as human beings, awakening beings, we are all called to rise up the ladder of consciousness, and that's actually what's happening also on a collective level. So let's just remember that no one on this planet can compete with God. No one can win God, you know. God wins always in the end. And the image also I saw regarding that was of a playground with children playing in a sandbox, and that's how actually Source God sees us. He sees us all as children playing on this playground. And of course, some children, you know, use their free will and choose actually to steal, to lie, to be mean, to go towards darkness, and some other children choose the light. They choose to be nice, they choose to be compassionate and loving. And that actually reminded me a very personal memory that I had in my childhood, where I was about 5 or 6 years old, and I was actually playing on this playground in the sandbox, and one of the kids there actually stole one of my toys. I think it was like a dinosaur or something. So the kid stole my dinosaur, and then I said to my mom, this kid, like, he stole my dinosaur. And actually the child hid the dinosaur under the sand, so we couldn't see it anymore, but I saw him do that. So I was saying, like, he stole my dinosaur and he buried it in the sand. And in the end we had to go back home, and so my mother didn't see the toy, so she didn't believe me. And the kid actually was also lying, because he said, like, no, I didn't steal anything. And I knew that he was, you know, holding the toy underneath him in the sand. And actually, when I went back home that day, I really have this very conscious memory of that. It's like I said to myself, humans can be really mean, actually. You know, this kid is really mean. Not only did he steal my toy, but he actually lied and manipulated our moms, you know. And so this was kind of a revelation for me at the time. And that's really, I think, the idea behind how God actually considers his children. He knows that some children will choose, you know, to act badly, and some will choose to stay in alignment with who they truly are. So I think that's really interesting. And regarding also this ladder with different, you know, levels of consciousness, we also have to remind ourselves that during Atlantis there was a big fall in consciousness on Earth. And maybe you've heard about the fallen angels. And the fallen angels is not only the bearer of light, it's not only Lucifer, that's only emblematic of the fallen angels, but there were many beings who actually, you know, were tempted by matter, and they fell. They literally fell from the Garden of Eden, and they fell at the bottom of the ladder, and they had to climb the ladder back again and kind of, you know, relive the evolution of human consciousness as human beings. But guess what? We are actually descendants of those fallen angels, because those fallen angels that came to Earth, they actually, you know, created also children, and genetically we are tied with those fallen angels. So that makes us, you know, also human beings that are awakening in consciousness and who are actually climbing up this ladder of consciousness, and that's what we are experiencing collectively on this planet currently. And of course, with the Ascension that is going on, we are, you know, rising up towards the higher scales of the ladder, which really connect us to also what we call Christ consciousness. And of course, the winter solstice is like a big portal, a big door opening on Christ consciousness, because it leads us to Christmas, of course. And I'm not talking about the Christ consciousness as something religious. Of course, Christmas is more like Christian, but Christ consciousness is really universal. And we really need to connect to Christ consciousness in that way. So I really invite you to feel the energy of Christ consciousness, to call in that energy in your heart, in your being, in your consciousness. Maybe meditate on it, make a prayer towards Christ consciousness. This is who we truly are. This is towards what we are all heading as, you know, human beings, as a species. So let's really embrace and allow those energies, those beautiful, very high energies of Christ consciousness to come down to earth during this entire holiday season. And of course, the end of the year is also, you know, a period where we might take stock of the past year that has went by, what we went through, what was, you know, maybe the achievements we had, or maybe things that we need to work on still, what we transmuted, what we integrated, what we healed. And also, of course, setting our intentions for the coming year, 2024, which will be, by the way, a kind of really surprising year, I think, on many levels. We all have good surprises and probably also not so good surprises, but I will be talking about that in my next video. Anyway, I really hope that you have a beautiful holiday season. Merry Christmas with your family, and of course, if you spend Christmas alone, my heart goes to you, and know that you are never alone. You can really connect to Christ consciousness, you can connect to the angels, the archangels, the light beings, and we are all there with you. So have a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, and I will see you next year. Sat Nam.